and 6 months later you leave the company. Somebody else picks up your code, and by this time you've moved up to Java.1.2, and they try to compile it and won't compile. And the problem is that Sun added to Java.util a list class, or list interface. So now you have a conflict. It's ambiguous which one you want. I really believe that any language feature that lets your code break when code is added to a library is evil. That's an incredibly evil feature because I didn't change anything. I just added new code. So always explicitly mention these. Now when you're doing Eclipse with Code Assist, it'll pop those in automatically. We'll see that a little later. But if you're inheriting some code, make sure you organize the imports so that it explicitly spells those guys out. A while ago when I was writing tools for Visual Age for Java, I wrote something called Importifier that did the same thing. And fortunately, when they came out with Eclipse to start with, they had this feature in here, so I didn't have to port it. Okay, sort members. Some people like to reorganize members so there's little chunks, like all your fields are here, and then all your publics. And if you want to do it, I don't recommend that. Again, it's mainly a thing like if you check out some code, make one small change, you suddenly shuffle a whole lot of things automatically. Not a good idea. Okay, this little guy up here. Some coding standards like to explicitly have blocks everywhere, regardless if you only have one statement inside. So we'll see this guy here, like it says else return. And is there another one in here? I guess he's the only one. What this is going to do if I check this is it puts in the curly braces around that for you automatically. Depends on your coding style and what you like. Some people like to do that. They feel it's safer because if I didn't have that and came in and just indented and started typing some code here, it might look like it's actually part of the else, but it really isn't. Use parentheses and expressions. This is, if you look at this expression and you're like, wow, that's complex. Let me be explicit about it. And it spells it out like that. If you think something's